From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a major morning here on Mornings LALATE as eggnog-less issues heat up. We'll go over that in just a second. But massive stimulus, $300,000 of stimulus checks passed in the month of March. And these fast stimulus checks, viewers have been getting them since March, 18 months of monthly stimulus checks. We'll go over these $3,000 of stimulus checks, 5 stimulus checks per month in just a second. But an eggnog-less week, the markets ended down dramatically on Friday, posting the worst week of the markets since September. Why? Because the PPI and the PPU, the Producer Price Index, was released on Friday, and it showed that inflation went higher than expected. Its impact on you will heat up this broadcast. Tammy and Jamie also heating up as well. A new report from Bank of America says that inflation will take longer to get down than initially thought. That's why you have to get all these incredible stimulus checks. Massive stimulus checks will be featured over this broadcast. Over this 1 hour broadcast, we'll go over these huge stimulus checks that viewers have gotten since March. $300,000 of stimulus checks. They're for you. Viewers are getting 18 months of monthly stimulus checks, about 5 stimulus checks a month. That's for you, including if you're on SSDI, Social Security, and railroad benefits. They're not from your state, number one. They are incredible, but you need to pounce to get these incredible checks. They're not for one particular group. And also, you need to apply. I'll show you over this 1 hour broadcast how to get these incredible checks across the board. But the other major stories we're working on today are the Santa baby CPI. Will that CPI on Monday be a baby, or will it be a monster? We're hoping it's a baby, but it's likely not. And Cuff It Tonight. LALATE, you really did not get Beyonce into Mornings LALATE, did you? Cuff It Tonight. Yeah, Cuff It Tonight. A new report out said that consumer confidence is up. Maybe because they're all doing TikTok dances on the Cuff It Tonight. We'll go over the latest details on that confusing data today. And Downward Dog, I don't even want to know what that is. Well, you do. It is Lululemon. Lululemon absolutely fell after it missed on those earnings, and it's an indication of where this week's going. It's a big broadcast. It's perhaps one of the best broadcasts you've seen on Mornings in a long time because it is really jam-packed. We have a lot of breaking news, and it all starts right here, right now, on a big, bold, beautiful live edition of Mornings LALATE, starting right here, right now, as the toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. And boy, this is perhaps one of the best mornings broadcasts you've had for you in a while. Thank you for joining me this weekend because it's a big week underway, and next week will be additionally bigger as well. We're going to go over the latest details in just a second, but first let's look at those big checks. 18 months of monthly stimulus checks are being paid out right now. I'm going to show you how to get 18 months of stimulus checks in this recording. $3,000 of stimulus checks per month, 5 stimulus checks per month. I'll explain to you the details of these big, fast stimulus in this broadcast. But first, let's go right into the breaking news we're dealing with right now. Eggnogless. The markets ended down, posting their worst week since September. The Dow falling 300 points on Friday, and the Dow was down nearly 1% in one day alone, 3% down for the week. The S&P down 3%, and the NASDAQ down 4%. Across the board on a weekly basis. This is not good. And why did it happen? It happened because of the PPI, PPU. I love that. PPME, PPU. The Producer Price Index, which gauges inflation, was released on Friday. And you may say, well, that's for the wholesaler. That's not for me. That's PPU, not PPME. Well, no, it's all PPI and PPU as well. Why? Because the number is indicative of what happens on Monday. This coming Monday, the CPI is released, and the PPI always goes up when the CPI goes up. What do we see in that PPI number that was released on Friday? For Friday, the Producer Price Index showed that products the wholesaler sells to you, like the grocery stores, their products that they bought went up 0.3% for the month and went up 7.4 annualized. Oh, that is really hot. I mean, that's almost no improvement in nearly a year. Wall Street was looking for a zero point 0.2 gain on a monthly basis. It came in 0.3. And when you exclude food and energy and you core PPI, it went up 0.4 compared to a 0.2% estimate. And core PPI was up an enormous 6.2% year to date, and not much improvement compared to October, which was 6.6%. One third of this jump came from financial industry, which rose prices 11% in 1 month. Wow. And that's why it brings us into the third story we're working on this morning. And I told you it's a big show tonight, this morning on Mornings LA, is Taming Jamie. Jay Powell will be taming inflation for potentially longer than other people thought. I had told you in February of this year that the inflation will cause this economy to go into recession starting in January 2023 and will go for 2 years. But now we're hearing this universally. Brian Moynihan, who is a very brilliant Bank of America CEO, said in less than 24 hours ago, our expectation is that inflation is going to get in control really at the end of 2023 into 2024. This is going to take a little bit longer to tame inflation than people would like. It's not going to be clear overnight, and it's going to take a while to bring inflation under control, and that taming inflation will take longer than people expected. Now, what are people expecting? Santa baby CPI or Santa monster CPI? Santa baby, well, on Monday, the consumer price index, the CPI, which gauges inflation, which governs one of the most important parts of this economy, is released. And that CPI is likely not going to be a baby. Now, this is a very confusing way to record. Let me say something to you. You and I already know the PPI went up on Friday. So the PPI goes up, that means the CPI goes up. Pretty easy, right? Yeah, pretty easy. And you already know that inflation has not gone down 1 month this entire year. It started at 8% last year, and it's still at 8% tonight, or this morning, 7.6, 7.5. So why would anyone think there's going to be a Santa baby CPI on Monday? It's going to be a Santa monster. It's going to be a lot of inflation. But Wall Street's still betting on a Santa baby. Well, their betting is going to really not come out well. That's Monday. I told you it's a big week upon us. Santa Claus rally, analysts are now saying, is dependent upon whether the CPI report is weaker than expected. It's not going to be weaker. And if that report comes in exactly where you and I think it is, now this is breaking news, there will be no Santa Claus rally. Really? Santa Claus rally in which the markets go up happen every single year. But analysts are now believing the Santa Claus rally will not happen if that CPI report shows more inflation going up, which you already know will happen. Let's go over the analysis. Jeffrey Hirsch of Stock Traders Almanac writes today that over the last 21 years, the market typically begins to trade higher. This is the Santa Claus rally on the 10th trading day of December, which this year is December 14th. There you go. The same day the Fed announces its FOMC results on that day. So, wow, normally you go up that starting on December 14th or the 10th trading day of the year. Even in recession, even in a bear market, we still have a Santa Claus rally. But this year, the breaking news is that analysts believe that if the markets see a CPI exactly as you and I are predicting, a very strong CPI with inflation going higher, there will be no rally. Now, what's important to understand is that we have already rallied up 10% since September. That's getting wiped out very quickly, but time for Beyonce. Did you really get Beyonce into Mornings LA? I did. Cuff it up tonight. Cuff it tonight. Cuff it tonight. The University of Michigan consumer confidence number was released also in the last 24 hours, and people were really confident. They're ready to cuff it tonight. University of Michigan's consumer sentiment rose 59.1 for the month compared to a 56.8 in November. That's a lot of confidence. People are a lot more confident than the prior month on this economy. How can that be? Does that make any sense, LLA? Of course it makes no sense. Why are people more confident with this economy than they were a month ago? They're more confident because they improved their TikTok moves. They improved their TikTok dance moves, so they're a lot more confident, and they have the cuff it tonight routine down completely. So that's where a little bit more confident. You see them, you see the TikTok. They have that smile. It's like the smile's frozen, and then the shoulders are moving, but the head's not, and they're like, "I'm there, I'm there." And yeah, you're not confident. You're just happy that your dance moves are in unison to the music. And that's why you have to get a stimulus check. Let's go to these incredible stimulus checks right now because these stimulus checks are really important. And people who think that they're confident about this economy are going to have a rude awakening in 30 days from now when we enter recession in January. And let's bring it back to February of this year. In February of 2022, I was the only American broadcaster to record that the U.S. economy will be going into recession starting in January 2023. I recorded that the recession would start in January and go for 2 years to the end of 2024. By March of this year, March of 2022, the viewers who listen to learn and earn on this channel and always are taught by me to err on caution and be conservative with their money, not risky, said, well, if you're right, LA, and we're going to recession, give me some darn stimulus checks right away. And I did, and we got lucky. In March, the day that viewers started telling me to get stimulus checks for them in March of 2022, Joseph Biden came along and passed a series of executive actions which established the first 3 of these stimulus checks. Checks A, B, and C stimulus checks. We'll go over those in just a second. Immediately, I had a triple mandate for myself in getting these stimulus checks. Let's go over that right now. Number 1, I wanted to make sure that I can get you big stimulus checks. Tens of thousands of dollars of stimulus checks. It's important to remember that the lockdown because of COVID was, 6 months? This is going to be a 2-year recession. So you need tens of thousands of dollars, and we found them. And I'm going to show you how to get these incredible thousands and tens of thousands of dollars of stimulus checks in this recording. Stay with me over this broadcast. Number 2, broad eligibility. I want to make sure you qualify, and you do. There's only 2 qualifiers. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you qualify if that's your annual income. Married couple, $150,000 or less annual income, you qualify. That's it. You qualify for these incredible stimulus checks. It doesn't matter if you rent or you own, if you are ahead of bills or behind on bills, children without children, on SSI or SSDI. Number 3, I wanted it to be easy. You watch a broadcast, you take notes, that's fine, but I'd rather have it done for you. And all I do for you is I put into a credible LALATE newsletter, delivered from me to you Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's written up for you, each of these wonderful 300 different stimulus checks. You go right and apply for each of these wonderful checks one at a time. Now, let's go over why I call it federal stimulus checks, FSC, or Santa stimulus, or holiday stimulus, Christmas stimulus. Federal stimulus are from the federal government, which is Washington and everyone in Washington, like the president and Congress. Let's go over the 2 branches of government that you deal with on a regular basis. Your city, county, and state. They have Zippo. They're broke as a joke. They have no money for anyone. They never do. So we don't focus on your city, county, and state. Rather, we focus on money for Americans. It doesn't matter where you live. It's for an American. And it comes from the President of the United States and Congress. It's federal stimulus checks. Again, it doesn't matter where you live. It's for you. And those are these big stimulus checks. Later recording, we'll also be going over inflation-related stimulus checks and lifetime stimulus checks. But let's go back into the breaking news of what's going on before we go over all these incredible checks one at a time. Downward dog. So, one of the best indications of the economy is corporate earnings. If corporations are not delivering earnings, they're going to lay people off. And they lay people off, they have no money to afford anything. So what do we get on Friday going into the weekend? We got a very bad warning signal from Lululemon. Lululemon, which is the yoga apparel company, announced it's keeping lower guidance for the rest of this year. They said December is not going to be particularly good at all. And the stock fell 7% before trading with that news. This new week is going to be a big week for corporate earnings. And I'll have more about these corporate earnings and why Black Friday did not deliver good numbers. We have a big week of corporate earnings coming in. We have Oracle, we have CompuSoftware on Monday, but on Tuesday we have medical with Eli Lilly. On Thursday, we have restaurants like Darden Restaurants. That's a big show. And that's why you need to get all these incredible stimulus checks. So let's look at these federal stimulus checks, starting with the first three done by Joseph Biden in the month of March. They're huge. These first three checks from Joe Biden are checks A, B, and C. And let's understand where they came from and how they came into existence. These first three checks are beautiful, and they started again in March. And here we go. Passed by executive action of Joseph Biden in the month of March. These incredible checks are beautiful, and you qualify. The first three of these federal stimulus checks, checks A, B, and C stimulus checks, are just wonderful. They're about $100,000. You qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less annual income, go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less annual income, go get them. How do I get these incredible stimulus checks, Ally? I'm going to show you. They're coming up in just a second. I'm going to go over every check with you one at a time in this broadcast. Then came Congress, and Congress passed other checks by executive action. Those are checks, stimulus checks E through K. And stimulus E through K are in the newsletter. But I found more of those hundreds of checks in checks L, M, and N, and O, P, and Q. Now you can apply for nearly 300 different checks in the membership newsletter, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. You apply for these wonderful stimulus checks in the LALATE newsletter. Again, delivered from me to you. Watch the time zone. 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central via the YouTube alert. You get that YouTube alert. You go down the little alert past the guy with the surfboard. There he is. And then you see the View Post button. You click the button and you go right in and apply. It's so straightforward and simple. Go get these incredible stimulus checks across the board. We're going to go over each of these wonderful stimulus checks in just a second, but let me go over the breaking news that we're dealing with this big week across the board. Again, on Monday, we have the Consumer Price Index number released. Folks, that number is perhaps the most watched number of the entire year. That Monday broadcast, you do not want to miss it. That CPI on Monday is just going to be a shocker. You already know the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, the inflationary number on Monday, will go up month to month. You already know it'll go up year to year, year to date. But Wall Street is somehow betting on something else, a fake fact into existence. It's not happening. So what you and I are really watching on Monday is not so much the CPI, because we already know what's going up. We're watching the reaction to the news, in which it comes in hotter than they expect, not hotter than we expect. Then Tuesday, Jay Powell and the company meet at the Federal Reserve. They're likely to announce that 50 basis point interest rate spike, but they're also likely to say, we have a long way to go, and how long a way do they have to go? Look at that PPI from Friday. A year ago, this month, I got right what I had predicted to you. In early 2021, Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve had said to you that inflation in December 2021 was going to come in at 8%, going to come in at 2 to 3%. I said, no, it's not. In December 2021, it's going to come in at 8%, and it's not going to be temporary or transitory, as Jay Powell said. It's going to be long-term. I didn't give a date on it, but I said it was not going to be just a few weeks. Well, guess what happened? It is now 1 year ago, and that 2 to 3% inflation never happened. It was 8%, and it never went away. The PPI on Friday showed it at 7.6%. So this is why we have a long road to go on taming inflation, as Brian Moynihan, head of Bank of America, said. That's why I had to get all these incredible stimulus checks. Let's go into the first three of those stimulus checks, starting right now, done by Joe Biden. Those are checks A, B, and C. Do you want a $12,000 stimulus check? Of course you do. And that is where we start off right now. Check A, $6,500 to $12,000 for stimulus check in every U.S. state. This is the wonderful stimulus check that Spelly got and Kimberly got. Lots of other viewers did as well. How do I get a $12,000 stimulus check, LA? You join the channel, become a member under the video right now. Click the link and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, watch the time zone. 10 o'clock Eastern if you're on New York and New Jersey, Rhode Island. 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, Missouri, Illinois. Go down that YouTube alert till you see the click view post that sends you right in the newsletter, and go right in and apply for Check A. That's how you get that $12,000. Then Check B. Check B has been the check that has really helped people get 18 months of stimulus checks. Check B stimulus checks are great. They can cover everything from rent to also the home. And viewers are getting on average 18 months of Check B stimulus checks. How do you get Check B? You go under the video, become a member, get that newsletter, and then go right down to Check B stimulus check in the newsletter. Click and apply. You're not done there yet. You're going to go apply for Check C stimulus checks. Now, Check C is a little bit different. In the newsletter, I tell you the 12 places to call and say what to say and where to say it. Make sure you reach out to all 12 places. What is Check C stimulus? Check C stimuluses are for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And viewers have been getting these big stimulus checks of Check C stimulus since early this year. And let's look at these incredible sums of money. Do you want $30,000 of rent stimulus checks? Then go get some Check C's. Join this channel right now. Do you want $15,000 of utility stimulus? Then join this channel and become a member and get some utility stimulus. Here's Mark. Here's at $6,500. His brother-in-law, went to $15,000 of utilities, $250,000 of SNAP over 10 years. And then let's go back to Mark. He went from $32,000 of stimulus checks. Mark then went to $50,000 of stimulus checks. Then he went to $100,000 of stimulus checks, and then he went to $166,000 of stimulus checks. Do you want $166,000 of stimulus checks? Well, become a member right today. Here's Lorraine. She was at $105,000 of stimulus checks. She got $150,000 of stimulus checks by becoming a member. Now, those are the very first 3 stimulus checks, Checks A, B, and C stimulus checks, and we're just getting started. Later in this recording, we're going to go to E through K stimulus checks, then L, M, N, O, P, Q. How do I apply for these stimulus checks, LA? Step 1, you go under the video, subscribe. Step 2, there's a little bell under the video. Make sure you have that set to all notifications to all on. And number 3, go under this video, become a member. Then open that membership newsletter. Watch the time zone. Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, West Coast time, Los Angeles time, which in New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Georgia, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Midwest, Illinois, Missouri, 9 o'clock Central. You go down the YouTube alert, past the guy with the surfboard, click and view posts, it sends you right into the newsletter. You go right in, click and apply for Check A. Click and apply for Check B. Check C, it tells you the 12 places to reach out and call, like Johnny did. And then you go down the newsletter, apply for Check E, K, and we're going to go all those other checks in just a second. And that's how you do it. You do not wait. Let's look at the other breaking news we're dealing with right today. So the other breaking news we're dealing with right today is that the consumer price index number on Monday will not be a Santa baby. You know it's not. I know it's not. It's going to show inflation went up in the month of November, higher than the month of October. That's a given. Why do we know it? Because it's done every month this year. Because the sister or brother, the PPI, did it on Friday. We know that the CPI is going to be higher month to month. We also know it's going to be higher year to date. It may be a little bit less than it was going up last month, but it's still going up. And that's why you need all this incredible stimulus, because guess what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that the markets are going to be shocked when we're ending the year with the CPI even worse, in a year in which inflation has really not come down at all. In the big second half, I will go over why there's a combination of data points that we all know right now. Credit card spending, the retailers' earnings. We also know about debt levels, and we also know about savings levels. There's a lot coming up in the big second half. That's why you need to get all these incredible stimulus checks. And also, we'll get a preview of what to see for this week, and we'll have a preview of what's coming up tonight in prime time. It's a big, bold, beautiful morning's LA, and we're just getting started. I will be back with you in 60 seconds with more about this deliciousness as the toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee's brewing. See you back in 60 seconds on Mornings. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE Live Daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. Any second. Any second, continues. In a second. Have you watched the new stimulus live? Have you watched the new Wall Street Live? And there you go. The audio will hopefully clear up in just a second. That's a big day. And it did. Magic audio. It's just a beautiful morning. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Welcome to Sonia, who became a brand new member during the commercial break. And there's actually 3 other brand new members. I can't see their names in the live chat. I'll be bringing on set a brand new computer that will add to the functionality of Morning Show starting over the next day or two. But there are actually 4 new members in addition to Sonia Beta for becoming a brand new member. Welcome to Celeste, who is in the live chat. And then we have Lorenzo Ramirez in the live chat. Lots of brand new viewers across the board. And no, we are not having a space alien party. Let's get into those incredible checks. After the President of the United States passed those first 3 checks by executive action, checks A, B, and C, well, along came Congress, and they did the next groups of checks. These are the beautiful checks E through K, and they are wonderful. Again, these are from Congress. These are federal stimulus checks, and they are absolutely beautiful. Let's look at each of these incredible stimulus checks right now. Stimulus check E is a $7,500 stimulus check. Love it. Then check F is a beautiful $4,000 stimulus check. Love it. Then we have G. What a great check. 30% off. A stimulus check H, $2,000. Love it. Then I. Oh, wow. I is an $8,000 stimulus check. J is an $8,000 stimulus check. K, $14,000 stimulus check. So those are E through K stimulus checks. They're in the membership newsletter down at E through K. You apply for each of them, just like you apply for A, B, and C. But we're not done there yet, because after that, I found you other checks, L and M, N and O, P and Q. Let's look at those incredible stimulus checks right now in today's morning's broadcast. Stimulus L is $100,000 on average of loan industry money. It's absolutely wonderful. N is $4,000 of grant money. O is a beautiful zero down payment, zero closing costs, brand new for a brand new mortgage. And stimulus P is 3% down, and Q is an $8,000 stimulus check. Now let's jump back to stimulus N, because it is really the talk of the town. Stimulus N is a brand new computer, tablet, or laptop. Yes, you heard me right. Brand new to computer, tablet, laptop. Do you want that for the holidays? Of course you do. Everyone wants a brand new computer for Christmas. So become a member. Go right down in the membership newsletter to Stimulus N and click and apply. So let's recap a little bit more about these federal stimulus checks. First, they're federal stimulus checks, meaning they come from the federal government, the people in Congress. They're for Americans. They're not for particular states. They're for Americans in general. Number two, they're big checks, tens of thousands of dollars. You're going to have a 2-year recession, not a 6-month lockdown because COVID. You have a 2-year recession. So there's going to be a lot of financial hurt. We got those big stimulus checks. Number three, fast rounding time. Johnny started on Monday. By Wednesday, he had $45,000. Yeah, that's 2 days. He continued through Friday, and he had 15 applications in, half rejected for stimulus checks and half approved for stimulus checks. He got $80,000 of stimulus checks in those 4 days. The next week, he helped mom get $50,000 of stimulus checks. Dad, $50,000 of stimulus checks. His 20 friends and neighbors, $250,000 of stimulus checks. What are these stimulus checks for? We have the rent, we have the utilities, the mortgage, the home improvement, the home appliances, the computer, the tablet, and more. It's absolutely wonderful stimulus checks. Dragon, who's in the live chat right now, she has gotten $170,000 of stimulus checks as a triple member of all 3 channels and also volunteer. We have Johnny, who's gotten that $250,000 for 20 friends and neighbors. We have Mark, you saw. We also have Lorraine, and we also have Lynn Glenn, who has a brand new success story this week. Lynn Glenn had already gotten herself 26 stimulus checks. She had gotten 14 months of utilities, which is actually more than 14 checks, but I'm just calling it 14 for now. Then she also got 12 months of rent. That's at least 26 stimulus checks. But then she helped a family member get 12 months of stimulus checks just in the last few days. Absolutely incredible. So go under this video, subscribe, go under this video, become a member, and go under this video, hit that bell to have all notifications set to all on. You're watching LALATE, America's #1 most watched financial news network for this subject matter in America. You're not going to see this covered anywhere else. A lot of research goes into every broadcast. This show alone has 9 pages of notes, just this show alone. You see how much dense information is in a single broadcast because I care about you, and I care that my predictions are right, and I care that you get all these incredible stimulus checks. I'll go more about these stimulus checks in just a second, but now let's go over to inflation relief stimulus checks. They're nice. They're like the icing on the cake. They're not the cake, but like the icing. They're about $1,000. How do you learn about them? They are in the membership newsletter down at Check D. Click the link and go right down to Check D. And then we go to lifetime stimulus. Now, Brian Moynihan, head of Bank of America, says that taming inflation is going to take a little bit longer than expected. It's not going to take any longer than you and I expected because I told you that it's going to take 2 years to get inflation down. Taming Jane? Yeah, taming Jay Powell or taming inflation? Yes, it's going to take 2 years to get inflation down. So Moynihan in the latest comments today, head of Bank of America, says that inflation is not going to go away until 2024. That's exactly what we've been recording. That's exactly what Jay Powell said. So that means you're going to get 2 more raises of your lifetime stimulus. You already have a 5.9% raise for your benefits right now. Well, guess what's going to happen next year? 8.7% on top of that. What's going to happen after that? You're going to have a raise on January 2024 and a raise on January 2025 because inflation is going to be with us 2 more years. That's why your benefits are going to go the highest of a generation. They're going to keep on going up while your cost of living is going to go down the lowest of a generation. And there you go. Those are your big checks. Remember, start with the federal stimulus checks. Stimulus checks passed in March, $300,000 of stimulus checks, 300 different stimulus checks in the membership newsletter. 18 months of stimulus checks is what viewers are averaging across the board. 5 stimulus checks per month and about $3,000. Remember, it is for all of you. It is everywhere. And all you have to do is pounce. They're not from your states, these stimulus checks. They're from the federal government. They're not for a particular group. They're for Americans. And you need to pounce and apply. And with that, let's go back into the breaking news that we're working on right now. The breaking news we're working on right now is really Monday. Monday and Tuesday. And really the reaction to the news. Now, let me go over some of the other data that came in that's important, that leads us into Monday and Tuesday. We had the jobs number released on Thursday, the unemployment number. One was okay, but the other one was not okay. The new jobless claims number was fine. It came in at 230,000, which you see on this chart. That is in the range of where we've been this year. If it was 260, I would be worried, but it wasn't. It was 230,000 new jobless claims. That's fine. It was the other number, the long-term unemployment number, continuing unemployment number. This is people who are unemployed 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. They're still unemployed. The number jumped a lot by 65,000 to 1.7 million. That's not good. Why is it not good? Because the other data we got this week. Data from 2 different sources. One was Morgan Stanley. The other one was the businesses like LALATE said Black Friday was not good. Black Friday did not get good sales earnings numbers for the retailers. You saw people in the stores, you saw the stores busy. Reportedly, the consumers were not buying. Morgan Stanley says when you look at the numbers over the last 3 months, October had more buying than November. November was actually lower than October, and they say December's actually going to be worse. That's what LALATE said at the end of the market's close on Friday. They said, we expect a really bad fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is what we're in right now. They say the fourth quarter is being really hard, and we are keeping our guidance downward. So let's go with the collective nature of that. Long-term unemployment is really at a troubling number right now. Imagine what happens in January and February. In January 2023, the corporations will look at those Black Friday numbers for November and say, we didn't have much earnings at all. They look at the December and say, we did not have good numbers in December at all, folks. And that's the year, the months that were really dependent upon existence. And we did not bring in numbers. Guess what they're going to say? They could say, goodbye, you've been laid off. And that could surge unemployment even higher. They could even say store closures are going to happen. They could even say bankruptcies could happen. So what's going to happen at the same time is the other parts of the data that came out this week. On Thursday, Jamie Dimon, head JP Morgan Chase, said that Americans' savings accounts will be gone in early 2023. Another economist came out, and she was at KPMG, and she said, no, that's middle-class savings accounts. Low-income savings accounts are already gone. So whether it's early next year or already gone, savings accounts are going to be gone. Let's go over the other data. Bank of America's CEO and American Express's CEO said in November that credit card spending is the highest of a generation. It's out of control. We don't know if they have the savings accounts to pay these bills. Jamie Dimon says they do not, and also KPMG. So Americans are spending on the credit card record amount of debt. They do not have the cash to pay for the debt. The savings accounts are about to be gone. They work at a business that's not bringing in the income, that does not have people coming in buying stuff in this last 2 weeks of December. Does this look good? It doesn't look good. And ultimately, this is what Ioannis, Ann, Bob, Crayola, and I, and Shirley Parker, and others were talking about in that LA Late Night show last night, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I said, when do you really think it's just going to go poof? It's just going to absolutely, really smash really badly. And Iona said January. I agree with it. I think it's about a January, February. I think there's too many bad things all compounding at the same time. And amidst all this, we have those people saying, we're hoping the CPI is a Santa baby. It's a small CPI. It's a small inflationary number. It's not going to happen. So what's important to understand is you need to really, really get all this incredible stimulus. You really do need to get it right now. 30 days away from a lot of really bad hurting that'll go on for 2 days, 2 years is very close. So you need to really spend every waking hour you have on applying for stimulus right now. You do not wait on this. You spend your time watching the videos. You spend your time applying for check A, stimulus, applying for check B, stimulus checks, going through the newsletter, applying for checks, stimulus checks E through K and L and M and P and Q. You start applying for stimulus checks right away. You learn and earn exactly where this economy is at any moment, because this economy is about 30 days away from really not doing well. As Morgan Stanley says, you know what? You thought you saw people in the stores this Black Friday, but they were not buying. We have the data, and those numbers are not good. And Lululemon confirms that in today's breaking news report, that Lululemon says, you know what? We had problems in December, and we're going to have problems in late December because of the macroeconomic data. And what on top of all that is added? Stock market. Stock market is going to look for a lower CPI Monday. It's not going to get it. They're going to look for Jay Powell to say something lighter on Tuesday. He's not going to say it. And the stock market, which never, ever goes without a Santa Claus rally, always has a Santa Claus rally. Even a bear market has a Santa Claus rally. In a recession, there's a Santa Claus rally. May likely not have a Santa Claus rally. Starting on December 14th, which is the teed up date that's likely to start, is likely not to have a Santa Claus rally. If on the 13th the CPI is exactly what you and I think for inflation, hotter, and if Jay Powell raises rates and says, I have a while to do this on Tuesday, which is what we think he's going to do on the 14th, boy, folks, it's just a real big week. And that's why you have to watch this channel and stay with me. The programming continues at 11 a.m. with Holidays LA on air. I will be back with you with new programming throughout the day. Don't miss me on LATE 1, LATE 2, or LATE 3. LATE 1 has LATE Live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On Channel 2 is Stimulus Live 24/7. And on Channel 3 is Wall Street Live. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, have a beautiful morning. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. Get all this incredible stimulus. You deserve it, and you want to always err cautiously. You don't risk it. You get money before it gets any different. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning, and stay with Ally for more.